In 784, Emperor Kammu decided the capital had to be moved away from Nara since he thought the priest's power was damaging to the government. In 784, Emperor Kammu decided the capital had to be moved away from Nara since he thought the priest's power was damaging to the government.
The new capital shall be placed in Nagaoka.
This choice wasn't final though, since rumors of dishonesty and corruption quickly spread, resulting in the capital being moved to a village on the Yodo River. Heian-kyo had criss-crossing streets, and life was very formal.
By the mid-9th century, the real power in the imperial courts shifted from the emperor to aristocratic families, the most important family being the Fujiwara, who controlled Japan for nearly 300 years. Beginning in 858, the Fujiwara married many of their daughters into the royal family. The people of the Fujiwara acted as advisors to the emperor, which gave them more power than the actual rulers since they were guiding them. So, we shall surprise them with an attack on their main city. But that's unreasonable. No buts. I know what I say is always right. You should know that too by now.
Rank was determined by the position of a person's birth family, which was very important during this period. It mattered more than personality traits. There were 9 ranks in the Heian court. Even the fans nobles carried showed their rank. Men of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd ranks carried fans with 25 folds. Men of the 4th and 5th ranks used fans with 23 folds. You might be wondering, what about the lower ranks? Well, they only had 12 folds. My fan has 25 folds. It's not decoration, it's my social status.
I've got 23 folds. I'm still a noble, but not quite on top yet.
If a person was found guilty of a crime, rank determined the harshness of their punishment. The higher ranks received lighter punishments than lower ranks. The 9 main ranks were divided into 30 sub-ranks, such as senior, junior, upper, and lower, each with their own specific privileges and rules of conduct. Heian society prized beauty, elegance, and fashion. Both men and women treated themselves with great care, and they each had their own significant styles and preferences for beauty in themselves.
My hair is a decent length. Maybe it could be a bit longer, but it'll have to do for the event tonight.
For women, makeup was important. They would use white face powder to make themselves seem pale. They would then add red to their cheeks with a small red mouth. Eyebrows would be plucked out and painted on. Women's clothing was needed to be ornate and beautiful.
Oh, these ones will do.
There were many popular time-passing activities to do, but one of the most famous was a game called Kimari, where they would kick a leather ball back and forth, attempting to keep it in the air for as long as possible. Some of the other activities would include watching horse races and sumo wrestling. When the weather was warmer, watching boat races was a common pastime. Many festivals and celebrations on the Heian calendar has its own contests, such as testing athletic, artistic, or poetic skills. Dancing was an equally important skill for Heian-kyo's nobles to acquire, since dance was in nearly every festival.
Older sculptures were usually made from only one single piece of wood. More modern sculptures made in this period were carved from separate pieces from specifically selected wood by joining them together. One of the possibly most famous masterpieces of Heian sculpture, the Amida Buddha, was made by Jocko. The famous Heian Japanese style is called Yamato-e, or Japanese painting. They would have thin lines filled in with bright colors. Lines made quickly would indicate movement. Lines made more consciously would be used in calm, peaceful artworks. There were 4 common types of Yamato-e: landscapes of the 4 seasons, seasonal tasks, natural beauty, and scenes from literature, also known as story paintings.
During the Heian period, calligraphy skills were valued as much as the ability to create poetry. Writing was more than communication, but an art form, with women being some of the most brilliant writers, but not all writing was the same. In Heian times, there were two ways of writing, with one being the katakana. The katakana was a more formal type of writing used by men when they were required to write something important. The other type of writing being the hiragana, which was mostly seen as women's writing. It was a more elegant and expressive type of writing, it being the writing favored by the court's women for personal writing such as diaries. This kind of emotional personal writing by women led to the flowering of Japanese literature in the golden age of the 10th and 11th centuries. The best-known writer was a woman named Murasaki Shikabu, or often known as Lady Murasaki. She wrote the novel The Tale of Genji, which is considered one of the great works of world literature. Another famous writer named Sei Shonagon created the novel The Pillow Book, similar to The Tale of Genji. The Pillow Book also presents a detailed picture of life in Heian-kyo. Whether written in structured katakana or graceful hiragana, the words of Heian aristocrats capture a golden age of poetry, emotion, and artwork. The Heian period was known as Japan's golden age of peace, but despite the glittering imperial court, there were problems that brought an end to this flourishing era. Aristocrats in Heian-kyo lived very well, but people in rural areas were quite poor. The wealthy looked down on the poor, so they ignored their problems. The practice of giving large estates to the nobles eroded the emperor's power, as they paid no taxes. Eventually, the government could not collect enough taxes to support the emperor. In the countryside, people of different religions joined together and began robbing each other. As the government was too weak to enforce law enforcement, the estate owners created their own police forces and armies to protect their lands. Instead of supporting the emperor, the profits from landowners' estates went to paying the warriors. By the 12th century, these lords rivaled that of the weakened imperial government, resulting in a civil war. And ultimately, Mina Yoritomo, the head of the military family, seized power in 1185, marking the start of military rule in Japan. The Heian period created a unique Japanese culture. Writers like Murasaki Shikabu and Sei Shonagon influenced later Japanese authors. Their books are as important to Japan as Shakespeare is to the English-speaking world. Modern Japanese still uses the same characters found in Heian writing. A short poem called Tonka was very popular in Heian times. This type of poetry remains a rich part of Japanese literature. Bagaku inspired new theater, which is a form of music, dance, and storytelling that's still practiced today. From literature to theater, Heian culture still lives on in Japan today.